Let's talk about subtracting fractions. Are you ready? Good. Then let's do these examples. What is 7/10 subtracted by 3/10? We have here similar fractions because they have the same denominator. Now, how will we subtract similar fractions? These are the steps that we'll follow. Let's have 7/10 minus 3/10. According to our steps, we should subtract the numerators first. So that will be 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Then we'll copy the common denominator, which is 10. So 7/10 minus 3/10 is equal to 4/10. However, 4/10 is not yet in its simplest form. So we have to reduce it to its simplest form. We'll do that using the continuous division method. 4 and 10 are both divisible by 2, so we'll have 2 and 5. Since 2 and 5 are relatively prime, it means that the simplest form of 4/10 is 2/5. Let's have the next example. What is the difference between 1 and 7/8 and 7/8? This time we are given a mixed number and a simple fraction. So how will we solve this question? In subtracting mixed fraction and a simple fraction, these are the steps that we'll follow. So let's have 1 and 7/8 minus 7/8. Okay, let's subtract the numerators first. 7 minus 7 is 0. Then we copy the common denominator, which is 8. Then we subtract the whole numbers. We have here 1 minus 0 because there's no whole here, and that will give us 1. Now take note that any fraction whose numerator is 0 is equal to 0. Again, any fraction whose numerator is 0 is equal to 0. That means this fraction here will be cancelled out because again, it is just equal to 0. Therefore, our final answer will be 1 and 7/8 minus 7/8 is equal to 1. Let's try another one. What is 1/2 subtracted to 4/5? Again, it says subtracted to. Okay, let us be very careful with this keyword. Again, when you say subtracted to, it doesn't mean 1/2 minus 4/5. Rather, it means 4/5 minus 1/2. Now let's take a look at the denominators of our fractions. They are different, therefore we have here dissimilar fractions. And for us to subtract dissimilar fractions, these are the steps that we will follow. So let's find the LCD of 5 and 2 so that we can change them into similar fractions. So we'll have 5 and 2. 5 and 2 are already prime numbers, so we'll just multiply them and that will give us 10. Therefore, the LCD of 5 and 2 is 10, or the LCD of 4/5 and 1/2 is 10. Now let's change our fractions into similar fractions. Let's divide 10 by 5. That will give us 2. Then we multiply it to 4 and that will give us 8. We do the same on the other fraction. 10 divided by 2 is 5 times 1. That will give us 5. So our new fractions now are 8/10 and 5/10. Then we follow the rules in subtracting similar fractions. Therefore, 8 minus 5 will give us 3. Then we copy 10. That means 8/10 minus 5/10 is equal to 3/10. Next, what is 1 and 2/3 less than 2 and 1/4? This time we are given the keyword less than. Less than is the same as subtracted to. Okay, so this question means that we will have 2 and 1/4 minus 1 and 2/3. Again, our fractions are dissimilar, so we need to change them first into similar fractions, just like what is stated in our steps here. So let's find the LCD. Okay, 4 is not yet a prime number, so we'll divide it by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 3 is not divisible by 2, so we'll just copy it. Then we multiply these prime numbers here. So we'll have 2 times 2 is equal to 4 times 3. That will give us 12. So the LCD of our fractions is 12. Now let's change them into similar fractions. 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3 times 1 will give us 3. Then 12 divided by 3 is 4 times 2, that is 8. Let us not forget to copy these whole numbers. So our new fractions now are 2 and 3 twelfths minus 1 and 8 twelfths. Then let's proceed to the rules in subtracting similar fractions. 3 minus 8. Can we subtract 8 from 3? No. In cases like this, when the fraction in the subtrahend is bigger than the fraction in the minuend, we will do regrouping. And when you say regrouping, it means that we will borrow one whole from this one. Now, if we will borrow one whole from 2, that will give us 1. Since the denominator of our fraction here, which is 2 and 3 twelfths, is 12, that means 1 whole is equivalent to 12 over 12. Therefore, we will add 12 to our numerator here, and 3 plus 12 will give us 15. Then we copy the denominator 12. Okay, so now we will have 1 and 15 twelfths minus 1 and 8 twelfths. Okay, now after regrouping, we can now subtract them. 15 minus 8 is equal to 7. Then we copy 12. 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. And there's no need for us to write 0 here. Therefore, the difference is 7 twelfths. Let's try another one. What is 3 and 1/5 minus 1 and 1/4? Again, for us to subtract these numbers, we'll follow these steps. So let's have 3 and 1/5 minus 1 and 1/4. Let's change them into similar fractions by finding the LCD. We'll have 5 and 4. 4 is not yet a prime number, so we'll divide it by 2. 5 is not divisible by 2, we'll have 5 here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then we add these prime numbers here, or we multiply rather these prime numbers here. 2 times 5 is 10 times 2, that will give us 20. Therefore, the LCD is 20. Okay, now let's divide. 20 divided by 5 is 4 times 1, that will give us 4. We do the same on the other fraction. 20 divided by 4 is 5 times 1, that will give us 5. Then, let us not forget to copy these whole numbers here. So we'll have our new fractions as 3 and 4 over 20 and 1 and 5 over 20. Okay, now let's proceed to subtracting similar fractions since they now have the same denominators. 4 minus 5. Okay, we cannot subtract 5 from 4. Therefore, we will do regrouping here. So we'll borrow 1 from 3, and 3 will become 2. Since the denominator of this mixed number here is 20, that means 1 is equal to 20 over 20. So we'll add 20 to our numerator, and 4 plus 20 is equal to 24. Then we copy the denominator. Now let's have 24 minus 5, that is 19. The common denominator is 20. And 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. Therefore, our final answer is 1 and 19 over 20. Now, for our last example, we will have what is 1 decreased by 2/5. This time, we are asked to subtract a fraction from a whole. And for us to do that, we will follow these steps. So we'll have 1 minus 2/5. Our goal should be to change this whole number into a similar fraction to 2/5 so that it will be easier for us to subtract. Okay, since the denominator of 2/5 is 5, we will have our whole number here as 5/5. Therefore, we will have 5/5 minus 2/5. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. Then we copy the common denominator, which is 5. So our final answer now is 3/5. And that's it for our lesson for today. Thank you for listening.